know how. I love it. Oh my, he seems interested. If you're right that Lamar loves Tomlin,
I just can't see that. I don't know, Greg. Could you actually see that happening?
I mean, it happens. It's hard to imagine it because of obviously the rivalry and them being two of the longest tenured coaches in our current history. Like it would be odd, but it wouldn't be unparalleled because both of these franchises, when they have a guy, they're going to give him a long runway. And Mike Tomlin is very well respected. Obviously, he has the respect of the guys over in that Ravens locker room just because of the success he's been able to have. And Mike Tomlin is just that type of coach that across the league, players talk, and we all have players that we would love to play with, and then we all talk about coaches. Man, I would love to play with Tomlin just to see what it's like. Just because he's charismatic, he's a player's guy, but he has a standard of how he wants things to look, and he seems to get the best out of his guys. So, I mean, yeah, I know Brew would be excited. But
Flock Nation, baby. Get it done.
I just
get it done.
I think Tomlin is taking the year off.
I assume he had 2 years on his contract that was going to pay him $50 million. He's been winning, so it's not like he was in a bad situation.
But this job is not going to, again, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. But the Baltimore job, whoever they hire could be there the next 12 years.
For sure.
So if I'm him and I love Lamar Jackson, and I imagine he still loves coaching football, he just knew it was time to get out of Pittsburgh. You might have to be like, that job, there's not going to be a better job.
Jump straight to
it would be strange.
And also, since the Steelers would have to okay it since he has the time left, that makes it tricky. The other thing Bisciotti said that I was actually and again, this is the soundbite I thought we were playing, but Bisciotti was asked if Tyler Luke made the field goal versus the Steelers, if Harbaugh would still be the head coach. And he responded, quote, for a week, end quote. Which means
tough one.
I know
that was after the Tomlin firing.
Yes, that was at the same press. It was later in that same press conference. Which again, this isn't the topic of the day, but there was a lot of what I thought curious reporting of like, yeah, Harbaugh was going to be back, and you know what I mean, all of it, and then it was like after a rash decision. Steve Bisciotti's like, to me, what that is saying is he had decided they needed to move on.
Super Bowl, or reach the Super Bowl.
It's almost as if a very, very good, powerful, maybe MVP caliber player on the team wanted a new head coach.
That's real.
It's almost like that.
All right. This presents a genuinely intriguing scenario. I want a direct, unequivocal answer. Baltimore Ravens supporters, inform me immediately. Do you desire Mike Tomlin as your head coach? Do you want Mike Tomlin leading your team? A simple yes or no. Seriously, just provide a straightforward response. Simply write yes or no in the comment section. Of course, feel free to elaborate with all your additional perspectives, but I am particularly interested in that binary verdict. I want to know definitively. Do you want Mike Tomlin as your head coach? I am certain Lamar Jackson would appreciate it. But does Tomlin genuinely elevate that defensive unit? Will he enhance Lamar's performance? Will he make superior in-game decisions? Will he effectively guide the Ravens and assemble more competitive rosters? Furthermore, who would assume the role of offensive coordinator for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens? That is a crucial secondary consideration, extremely significant. I anticipate some will propose solutions like, you can hire Mike Tomlin and then bring in a Mike McDaniel type, or mention names like Cliff Kingsbury. However, again, those individuals might secure head coaching positions elsewhere. The landscape is incredibly fluid. I've emphasized this in numerous discussions regarding coaches and coordinators. It is virtually impossible to predict who will land a head coaching role versus a coordinator position. Cliff Kingsbury could legitimately become the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. We simply have no clarity. Alternatively, he might not receive a head coaching offer and would then be available as a coordinator, potentially for the Ravens. The uncertainty is substantial. I will assert that the Ravens require a definitive leader. Personally, I would prefer that to be a leader with an offensive orientation. That said, I perceive that acquiring Tomlin might essentially provide a slightly more charismatic iteration of John Harbaugh in several respects. While I believe Tomlin and Lamar would establish a positive rapport, I am uncertain if Mike Tomlin would enforce the necessary accountability with Lamar. My impression is that their dynamic might become excessively congenial, lacking the requisite rigor. All legendary quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, you name it, require coaches who hold them accountable. A firm, principled relationship is essential. I am not convinced Mike Tomlin would cultivate that with Lamar Jackson. I genuinely am not. I suspect Tomlin might adopt a posture of unconditional support regardless of circumstances. Perhaps he could navigate that approach and connect with Lamar in a manner other coaches cannot. However, the fundamental principle remains. Players, irrespective of their talent or stature, require accountability. This applies to Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre. Every elite quarterback necessitates coaching that demands responsibility. I am doubtful that embodies Tomlin's ethos. For that matter, I am not convinced Harbaugh consistently provided that either. I am uncertain Tomlin would. Consequently, the the Ravens, do require a cultural reset. They absolutely need one, and internally, they recognize this. That explains the recent peculiar behaviors. Manipulating game data, circulating strange internal and external reports regarding locker room dynamics. A substantive shift is imperative. It absolutely is. Is Mike Tomlin the individual to instigate that transformation? Is he the one to deliver solutions for both on-field and off-field challenges? That emerges as the pivotal question. I am skeptical it will materialize, particularly considering the Ravens' ownership's recent commentary. I believe the quote originated from the owner. His response when questioned about Tomlin felt evasive, something along the lines of, "Oh, wouldn't that be fascinating? Only if John takes the Pittsburgh role." It struck me as deflection through humor, rather than a substantive answer. Navigating such a question in real time is challenging, but his response seemed intentionally noncommittal and jocular. It will be utterly compelling to observe the direction the Ravens ultimately pursue. They occupy a uniquely complex and fascinating position. They need a leader, they require a cultural overhaul, and they possess Lamar Jackson, who is the Baltimore Ravens' identity. Introducing a new head coach under these circumstances is fundamentally distinct from other situations. If you are the Chicago Bears hiring a Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams was not synonymous with the Bears' identity. Ben Johnson would be imported to establish a new culture. When Andy Reid arrived in Kansas City, there was no Patrick Mahomes. The Ravens' scenario is entirely different, creating a genuinely unusual and interesting predicament. There isn't a blatantly obvious, clear-cut coaching candidate readily apparent. When your mandate involves collaborating with an established superstar, like Lamar Jackson, you inherently understand the performance floor and baseline. This is a completely distinct experience from being hired with the directive, "We have a second-year quarterback we're developing," or "We're drafting a quarterback, build from the ground up." That is not the Ravens' reality. You are now attempting to hire a coach to surmount the final hurdle, to propel the team to the next echelon with a quarterback of Lamar Jackson's caliber. This might sound deceptively simple, you're starting with Lamar, but it is not, especially if the coach lacks NFL head coaching experience or is a retread seeking to reclaim his standing. These are individuals focused on job security, compensation, and longevity, which adds layers of complexity. It is a delicate, complicated situation. It truly is. But those are my reflections. I would absolutely appreciate hearing yours. What are your thoughts on the Baltimore Ravens? Do you believe they should hire Mike Tomlin? Certain commentators seem to advocate for it. Others appear non-committal. Let me know your perspectives. I read every single comment. Whether you agree or disagree with me, let's engage in discussion. Let's debate. But ultimately, let's enjoy the conversation. Please consider subscribing. We are building an incredible community here, and I would absolutely love for you to participate. I aim to create something we all feel connected to, something we are genuinely excited to be part of. I believe we are making significant progress. Also, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it substantially assists with visibility and the platform's algorithm. Thank you so much.